Welcome back. The Trump administration has ordered a review of Smithsonian museums and exhibits. It will focus on 8 of the organization's 21 facilities. It is the president's latest effort to shape what we in this country learn about our country, and it's aligned with the president's views on U.S. cultural and historical institutions. And it fits also within an effort rampant throughout the administration to purge the federal government or anything that touches from, quote, divisive narratives. In a letter to the head of the Smithsonian, White House officials said they are seeking to, quote, celebrate American exceptionalism. Joining me now, Samuel Redman. He is a history professor at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. Professor, it's great to have you with us. A lot of Americans—
Thank you for having me.
A lot of Americans celebrate American exceptionalism. That's not a problem, except if it is systematically designed to overlook and unearth the flaws within that pursuit of exceptionalism. Does this strike you as an effort to do precisely that?
That's right. This is a dangerous and pretty unprecedented time in terms of thinking about the Smithsonian Institution. The Smithsonian has been around for well over 100 years, almost 200 years, and it has never faced a direct frontal political assault, especially at the hands of the executive branch. There have been political controversies relevant to the Smithsonian in the 1980s and 90s, how they would display the Enola Gay, the B-29 superfortress that dropped the first atomic weapon in warfare during World War II, but nothing anywhere close to this in terms of political meddling and direct frontal assault.
And American history is a story of fits and starts, noble aims and ignoble realities. What's the harm in exploring that?
Without a doubt. And I think most people that go to a place like the National Museum of the American Indian will learn a lot that maybe they didn't necessarily learn growing up about the genocide of Native people. They can go down a little bit further down the mall and learn about the history of enslavement through encountering the remarkable National Museum of African American History and Culture, as well as the history of medicine and the Tuskegee experiments at the National Museum of American History. And this all tells a richer, more dynamic portrait, or helps paint, I should say, a richer, more dynamic portrait of our nation than sort of the celebratory vision that is often espoused by more conservative political actors. And so this is a really troubling call for oversight, and one that is really unnecessary and troubling.
And Professor Redman, it's been my experience that when the Smithsonian is talked about in sort of broader cultural context, it's sort of referred to as a genteel museum, a gatherer of lots of American arcana and lots of things, but never overtly political or sort of on the cutting edge of revisionist history or aggressive reimagination of history. It just seems like it's an odd target for this particular conversation.
Well, what I'll say is that the Smithsonian is a massive institution. It is a large and really dynamic place that has some incredible scholars and really remarkable, dedicated conservators and museum specialists who are sort of thinking about two things that maybe are a little bit in tension with one another. That on the one hand, it's all about preservation, right? Like we inherit the legacy of the history of collecting and preserving these materials from around the world and stuff, frankly, that tells the story of our nation. And in addition to that, it's a living, breathing thing. It's a story that's continually revised by academic historians, by museum professionals, by teachers. We learn new things. We as a society evolve and change. And as we evolve and change, the stories that we tell about the past naturally evolve and change. And so the Smithsonian needs to reflect that. There were exhibits 100 years ago in the Smithsonian that were racist and expressed histories of colonialism. And people have fought really hard over the course of the last century or more to revise and change the story. And in the last 10 years, especially, people have really rethought and taken a new vantage point at how these materials should be viewed and the stories that we should tell. And there's just also, too, I'll just say it takes a tremendous amount of collaboration and work to get a new Smithsonian exhibition up and going. That there are dozens of scholars and museum professionals that fact check each other and do things like peer review in the process. So having this top down review strikes me as really unnecessary and something that really smacks of political ideology rather than any necessary professional change.
Professor Samuel Redman, University of Massachusetts Amherst. I appreciate the time, sir, very much. Thank you for your perspective.
Thank you for having me.